Бисмиллахир-рахманир-рахим. Альхамдулиллахи ва бихи настаин. Глубоко уважаемый Митимир Шарипович, наш первый президент и глава.
Esteemed Mr. Shaimiev, the first president of Tatarstan, who spearheaded all the major changes in our republic over the past 25 years. Dear Ambassador Popov, dear participants of this meeting of the Strategic Vision Group, I would like to welcome you on behalf of the Central Spiritual Directorate of Muslims of Russia. Today we are meeting at the ancient city of Bulgar, which our ancestors used to call the Holy City of Bulgar. Of course, for Muslims, it is Mecca and Medina that are the most sacred cities. But indeed, every single patch of land is a gift from God and therefore is sacred. As the Prophet said, the entire earth is a temple of God, except for cemeteries and toilets. And Mr. Shaimiev just told us that for more than 70 years, our forefathers they were forced to pray at cemeteries because they had no other houses of prayer. Our Strategic Vision Group, I believe it is very symbolic that we are meeting now in the sacred city of Bulgar, in a room located right beneath the world's biggest printed Quran, which weighs over a ton. The Quran is not a big book, but all the most important things are said there. It's also an emanate. And it says in the book, we as God offered this gift even to mountains, but they refused. But men, they did accept it. And today, we have everything. We have mosques, we have roads, we have a great restaurant here at this site. I said in my speech, like I said in my speech, next year we will open a hotel on this bank of the river. It'll be a state-of-the-art hotel, several buildings, several blocks, and a part of it will be restored hammams, restored baths, and we will unveil it in the middle of next year. Just 15 or 16 years ago, we had Sheikh Abdurrazzaq from Baghdad over. He came here, and it was then that we realized that we would have an Islamic academy, and the Sheikh was supposed to be our first professor. But back then there were no roads here. There were dirt tracks, and going here, even from Kazan, was similar to traveling to North Pole. It was a whole expedition, which was difficult and fraught with hardships. Nowadays, it's all so easy. You come here using great roads, you can have a great meal here, and now even this Strategic Vision Group is meeting here in Bulgar. It is symbolic that Russia is the northernmost Islamic location. It's been more than 800 years that our ancestors adopted Islam. And praying prayers in the ruins of these mosques ceased about 700 years ago during the Mongolian invasion led by Bati Han. They are the ones who ravaged this mosque. Before that, our ancestors were Muslims for 300 years, and they actually destroyed the troops of Subutai Han, who came first ahead of Bati. They were the ones to shield Europe from the first offspring of the Mongolian invasion. And now, for more than 5 centuries, we have lived in a single country, in a single state, with the rest of Russia. In the 1920s, several hundred mosques were destroyed only in Tatarstan alone. There were only about 300 mosques left in the Soviet Union. Today, we have over 1,500 mosques in Russia, built with support from the government, sponsorship with people from people such as Mr. Shaimiev, and with donations from regular Russians. And also for our brothers from Muslim countries, I would like to say the reason why we're here today, the reason why Russia and the Muslim world are so important for each other. In these 7.5 thousand mosques in Russia, 75% of imams are former communists who were priests even back then. Even though so many mosques were destroyed under the communist rule in the Soviet Union, once Germany invaded in 1940, Russia's Muslims and their spiritual leaders still rose to protect this country, proving that they are an integral part of this country and that they are loyal citizens of it. Starting from in the past 25 years, we've had 7.5 mosques built in Russia. So no matter what you say, Russia's Muslims and Christians and representatives of other religions have lived side by side in peace. There are 193 organizations in the United Nations, and that's the number of ethnic groups that live in Russia. About 2 weeks ago, it took me 8 hours to fly to the Far East in Russia to lay a founding stone for a mosque there. So it's thousands and thousands of kilometers. Even from Mecca to here, it takes 5 hours to make a flight, whereas flying across Russia takes hour after hour. So cooperating with Russia is more of a safe bet than keeping your money in American banks, rather than storing them there, not knowing whether that money will be blocked or suspended. You would rather be friends with Russia, who has proved its friendship and its commitment to friendship through the hardest times. Just look at what's been going on in the Middle East. Every single right is being trampled there. There's no respect for human dignity left, and everything is being done to set the believers of traditional religions such as Christian and Islam, to set them against one another, to pit them against one another. Radical schools of thought are being invented in order to toxicate, to poison relations on purpose. And today, Mr. Shaimiev spoke about the necessity to pursue tolerance. We lay the cornerstone for a Muslim academy here in Bulgar, but today what we need is standards, education standards, so that there would be no contradiction between what we say and what we do. Because what we've been seeing lately in the Middle East is only comes from ignorance and from lack of respect for each other. Besides faith, one also needs knowledge, and one also needs humanity. Our Prophet was sent here to unify people, same as the prophet Jesus and all the other prophets. Now, uniting people requires mutual respect, and this is the only way to earn satisfaction, to earn content from God. So we've been to Kazan, we're now in Bulgaria, and we hope this will give an impetus to developing the relations between Russia and the Muslim world based on good neighbor relations, cooperation and friendship to the benefit of the entire world. And I would like to cordially thank Mr. Shaimiev. Thank him for his efforts and for leading us along the righteous way. And also I would like to say thank you to the incumbent president of Tatarstan and the government of Tatarstan that has been attributing special attention to both economic and spiritual development of our republic. We are neighbors, and therefore our fates are intertwined. So God help us all.